lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Daytona International Speedway here for the Road and Plate Truck Series, sponsored by Palm Rat Golf. We're here for round number 10, final race of the season for these gentlemen, and we have a large field here. Just about finished up all of qualifying here, as Aaron Smith looks to be the guy at the top of the podium for now. Got a couple more guys, not taking time right now, but certainly going to see what happens here forward. Up in the booth tonight joins me is Matt Metler. Matt, how you doing? Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the man can do it all. And I mean that just shows exactly why he is the champion this year. Locked it up last week in round number 9. So tonight is all about pride and bragging rights for each and every one of these guys here. As the championship is locked up, so you kind of want to be you want to be that guy to get that last win of the season and ultimately find your way to have some kind of momentum headed into the next season coming up. Yeah, and I was just going to say, certainly, I think we're going to see a lot of spectacular moves tonight as well. Because I mean, we're sitting around 65 degrees, ambient temp, and track temp only 94 degrees. So these things are going to be gripped up.
I'm looking at over 20 going to be taking the initial green flag. Every time we've been to a plate track throughout the course of the season, it's had everything that you've wanted. The drama, it's had the crashes, it's had the last lap passes for the win. And I know it's going to be a highlight reel fest here tonight as we get rack stacked, ready to rock and roll. Is now under 1 minute remaining in qualifying.
Yeah, and I'm certain these guys are anxious to get rolling. Daytona is always one of those places where you always have a chance to win. You could be 20th coming to the line, and literally every single car in front of you has some kind of disastrous wreck coming out of 3 and 4, and you can find your way squeezing through it. So certainly going to be a spectacular race, and certainly going to be looking for a wonderful finish as well.
Yeah, and that's we call Daytona the great equalizer. You put a truck here in the infield, a race car on the racetrack, you have as good a shot to win here as anybody else. And I love the call from the planning or the coordinating standpoint with the schedule to finish the season out here at Daytona. This is going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. There's a good chance who's ever leading on the final lap won't be leading at the start-finish line. As this race gets set, ready to rock and roll here live on SRM for the final time for the Road and Plate Series.
Certainly, and we're going to see Aaron Smith's going to go ahead and get lined up right here, right now.
Aaron Smith, locked it up last week. There is no championship at stake, but there are close battles.
Aaron Smith, Steve Loving in his share. The front row.
Try to hold your line pretty much every single incident I review.
Daniel Ott having a great qualifying run here in that 5th place position. I know we'll go through the qualifying order here momentarily.
Just have fun out there. Let's try not to have any conflict.
Certainly. Having a little bit of an issue with the screen right now. Not sure what's going on.
From my experience, 8 times out of 10 that should stabilize if it's just an unjust server issue or
yeah. Also getting some sound from the race chatter, so definitely trying to get rid of that for everybody as well.
Yeah, we can certainly clean that up for all you folks at home. I want to thank everyone again for joining us here live on Sim Racing Media. Come home to 6 days of high-flying, high-octane, high-flying racing action right here on your eSim Racing Meter. Smash the like button, ring the bell. That's the best way to find out each and every time we are live in prime time, bringing you all that electric racing action.
You're not far behind me, Jay, either from what I remember.
Not sure why I can't get the screen back or the sound to stop coming through.
Yeah, not to go off the broadcast tangent here, but I can actually hear the sound backfeeding through your backfeed.
Yep. Not sure what's going on.
My OBS updated earlier in the week, and I had to make a couple sound adjustments. Not sure if that's the culprit or not, but
Maybe.
It's a super speedway. A gremlin always seems to find its way in.
Certainly does. Always does, always does.
More oftentimes than not, a little extra spice to kick things off.
Absolutely. It's always something. You know, it happens.
Field now begins. For the storm. In a few moments from now, it's going to be like a Category 5 hurricane roaring into the Atlantic coast when we go green.
And certainly we got picture back. Thank you.
Great work there by our graphics department.
Want to thank everybody for standing by for that.
Yeah,
A little bit of a mishap there.
Sometimes it's going to happen. You know, the software knows the big one's coming and it's panicking.
Yeah, it's already ahead of us. It definitely wants to be prepared for that. So, I mean, it's certainly coming, but when and where is going to be the question here.
Well, I mean, we've seen it over the course of the season. It can kick off right, you know, lap 1, lap 2. Sometimes it's, you know, a quarter of the way. Sometimes it doesn't happen all the way till the very end, and then we can't get rid of the yellow flags. You know,
Exactly.
It's a byproduct of super speedway plate racing. However, you don't want to be the one to get Daytona, especially on the final race of the season.
Yeah, and it's never fun. Certainly, as that pace car makes that hard left turn. Aaron Smith going to lead him into the box and send it on, and we are green flag racing here from Daytona.
Green flag in the air, and these glorious V8s come roaring to life here in prime time for the final time this season. No surprise, working down low on the inside. Aaron Smith is hooked up with Michael in the 40. Getting a big push there. Now that 2 becomes 3. The 21 there of Caldwell, gonna pick him up. And now they are getting a huge run going down the backstretch. And here comes Dustin Bally giving a shove to the 27 on the high side.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of these guys already singling down towards that bottom lane, but it looks like the 27 up there of Steve Loving, yeah, that's him staying on the outside, getting a big push by Dustin Bally, who is the main guy around here.
Yeah, head cook, chief, and bottle washer, as Tony Trapasso used to say, or I like to call him the HMFIC. And this outside lane has got some mojo. As soon as I say that, there's the old shovel. Yeah, that's what Dave Regal calls it when you work the outside lane. That first driver in line, once they clear the bottom, they bail off. And, you know, you got to be careful doing that. Sometimes, you know, I remember that, you know, over the course of a race. If, you know, I help you get somewhere and you bail on me, I'm going to, you know, that may come back and haunt me later. We're going to have to watch how these trends continue as we are now 2 by 2, side by side. Noah's Ark situation at speeds over 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it's certainly crazy to think that, you know, these guys are going 10 mile an hour slower than the Cup cars would go, and it's still insanely fast as they reach actually 195 coming into turn 1 right about now. So, I mean, it's certainly showing the speed with these guys. You're going to have to look out for those guys that kind of lay back a little bit, you know, later on in this race, because they're going to lay back, get that huge run, and find their way through you.
Well, that's, you know, one of the things that plate racing I like, you know, couple tools you can have up your sleeve or jokers. There's things that you can do to manipulate the draft if, you know, you have holes, right? Because a lot of times you get those runs and you can't go anywhere with them. As we see now, we go on board looking back at the 24 of Dustin Bally, who currently runs into that 3rd place position, already up 3 spots. Administers a big time shot there and getting a look at his serpentine build.
Yeah, and you can certainly see just behind them. I mean, it's like going down I-95 nose to tail, and you know, now looking out the front. I mean, there's nothing in front of him, but certainly calamity around him.
Close quarters racing, as you said, over 195 miles an hour at times, and you are mere inches off of the other competitors out there on the racetrack, especially when you're throwing the side draft. And there's another list that's all about making things go bad. When those side drafts go wrong, and the 27 I thought was going to get put in the sucker hole, Steve Loving was able to shove that truck back down to the bottom lane as he was getting ready to go back into the back.
Yeah, and that's certainly a tough place to be, is when everybody kind of abandons you and leaves you there on your own. It's not really any place for you to go except just to the back.
You know, a lot of times it's sketchy going to the back because you got to hope and pray no one bounces off you. And that's about as hard as a pushing you'll ever see from 3 trucks in a row. That's Loving. Then you had Dustin Bally there as well. I mean, all 3 of those guys were welded. They were glued together. And it takes a lot of skill to do that because, you know, the saying goes, don't push the pusher. Well, in that case, he was definitely pushing the pusher, and the truck didn't even move. No one did. They were perfect.
Oh, and it looks like somebody moving a little bit up into the wall there. Looks like the number 9 of Campbell got a little bit of the wall, and that's scary at 190 mile an hour to grab that wall, because it's almost like you pull out the parachute.
Oh yeah, you definitely scrub off some speed. That can, you know, obviously check up the competition behind you. You hope everyone's paying attention. But in this league here, all these drivers have great situational awareness. Now the 7 is stuck in the middle. The 9 on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah,
the 67 says, "I'm getting out of here." He sends it down to the bottom.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, that worked out to the 7's advantage, because the 67 jumped down there and kind of pushed him a bit, and kind of kept him from being in that sucker hole. It kind of put the 9 in an outward sucker hole there.
Yeah, he inadvertently almost put him in the bear cage, trying to do a noble thing out there early on the racetrack.
Back up front, the lead has been handed over to Michael Kruger. Wonder if he's got a brother named Freddie.
I was wondering the same thing. Well, Kruger, I mean, he showed that he's got some speed in that 40 Chevrolet Silverado, and he's not afraid to use it. But we've seen some bold moves from him already, and we are getting spicy here.
And we get a sideways, flipped upside down.
There we go. Kaboom!
I can't even change anything fast enough.
We're still wrecking. We got Boom Shakalaka is the only. That's the only.
I don't even know where to begin on that one, because, I mean, it was just everywhere.
It almost looked like everyone.
Yeah, I saw a car upside down. I saw a car flying through the air, and it's like I can't even find where to stop this thing. Let's take a look back here.
Yeah, this is one of those replays where you're gonna want like 5 or 6 different main camera angles to choose from. We're still bouncing off each other.
Well, normally I don't do this, but we're just gonna back it up just because so much happened. It's not, people wrecked at all different times, and it looks like the 27. It looked like the 27 grabbed a good bit of this. He looks like he's the one that goes for a ride, absolute ride, upside down.
Yeah, he got rocked, set upside down, up on the hood, X Games mode. That wasn't, you know, that wasn't the highlight of this big one either. I mean, I don't want to say everyone, but certainly a lot of trucks affected in this early.
Just see what happens here. He's trying to split that 32 and 21 of his inside. Just gets that, and then gets hit in the side, and you can see him all over the place, flying through the air.
Yeah, that's a scary camera angle, as he's still beating and banging and just. And then the 28 just bonsais it in. Did you see that move by the 28 at Tom Wayne?
Yeah, it's just, oh my goodness.
If he grabbed reverse and just stood on it and got it down the racetrack, but I mean, if he did, he in a nick of time.
And it's one of those things, it's like I'm still trying to figure out where to watch another angle from, because certainly, I mean, we still haven't seen it all. I mean, literally everyone, everywhere. Jay Bast almost gets through scot-free. Doesn't necessarily get through. I want to take a look at... I almost think that the 65 of Samuel Stoner actually made it out clean from all of that. So I'm still trying to scroll through. There's so many different messages and everything on this thing right now. I wish you could see it.
The black box is going absolutely ballistic, but you can always try rolling it back from the chopper and then slow it down, maybe quarter speed.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll slow the frames down so we can dissect
Certainly
exactly what happened here, or try to get a better understanding at least.
Yeah, and certainly just about everybody came down pit road, just except for about the top 11. So half the field choosing to come through and half the field not. And actually Samuel Stoner was the guy that got nailed in the side here.
Yeah, they pull the three stooges here. They start ricocheting off one another. Then when the 27 comes back down, hooks the 21 and just absolutely uncorks a howitzer into the driver's side door of that machine on the outside retaining wall. Then you have just mayhem and carnage. Trucks taking flight, partially taking flight. There's Bass getting turned by the 28 as he just sends it in there on blind faith, and that's about all you can do at that point.
Yeah, and look at Bass just almost blowing over there sideways.
I thought he was, and he never did.
And it's just like everyone, everywhere.
You know, not to mention you have all that tire smoke, so that the visibility becomes a big challenge then. It's hard to see. Almost looks like something out of Days of Thunder.
Oh, 100%.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I told you at the top of this broadcast, it was going to be a highly electric evening, and they are not disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean, that was half the field at minimum. And some of those guys even got, may have just gotten like a scrape or two, but, that certainly was an
I'm sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, you're good.
Just about every time, if I'm up near the front and someone goes to split like that, I'm wrecked.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those things that if you're behind it, you're just driving through on, faith alone that someone doesn't come off the wall and take you out. I know I did a special event, Daytona 500 one time, and I saw everything happening, went to the bottom line, even to the apron, coming through a tri-oval, and I got through, and I was like, yeah, I got through. Next thing I know, I'm facing the outside wall, and I'm like, what the heck happened?
Well, the good news is, remember, this is a heat race. This isn't the feature. And if you guys are new to Road and Plate here on SRM, we do things a little bit different. So we're going to open these our races up with a heat race. Then we're going to invert the top 10. Then we're going to re-rack, restack for the main event and let her rip tater chip. So all these trucks and these drivers that just had catastrophic damage dealt to them out there on the racetrack. This is only the heat race, so could have been not as bad as what you possibly thought.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it sucks to not be up front, but now, I mean, at least okay, so I can come back out here and do this as Kruger leads these guys to the restart box. Gonna get ready to set them off. Waits till near end before going. Little shuffle out of Sean Johnson there from the start. Little tire slippage.
Yeah, Kruger there being smart on the restart. Didn't want to let anyone lag back, so we kind of checked him up a little bit. Wally had to bail on the throttle. I saw the flames just dumping out of the pipes on that truck. I thought we were going to have a problem here at the front again, but Wally was on top of it and picks up the 40 of Kruger. As now we're going single file racing, or at least for right now anyhow.
On board here with the dash cam, full gyro. And it's just crazy to see how much actual, banking is here. And it doesn't look like much on TV when we watch them, or as we do right now. But once you're inside and turn on this gyro cam, it really shows you that it goes from pretty flat as Aaron Smith goes to the outside of Bali now to maybe make a rush charge for the lead. But you can see just how much it turns.
Yeah, you can see Aaron Smith side drafted, gets really close and personal there, and he's going to have a big run here. And guess who's back? Sean Johnson, glued to the back of the 70. They are rumbling, stumbling, roaring down the backstretch. And here comes the 40 with the 24. They said, hey, whatever you can do, we can do better. Watch this.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's all about him being a good pusher, and Destin Bali definitely showing that he has the ability to be a good pusher here, just as good as Sean Johnson was there on Aaron Smith as he surges the 40 ahead of Smith there for a moment.
Well, these drivers are great on both sides of the coin. I mean, typically, if you're this good at plate racing from a league standpoint, because these guys are really good, I've never seen that many drivers that can really tear it up on a plate track, throw down on a road course the way these guys do. I mean,
oh, you see Aaron Smith dive to the inside. My apologies for cutting you off, but and it looks like Laura Wiseman gets annihilated.
Oh my God! The Mean Machine, sponsored by Valvoline, barrel rolls, flips up in the air, and comes to rest after a violent collision.
Yeah, that was certainly a wild one there. It looked like...
that's when you go to the infield care center and, they ask you what happened.
And you go,
Sky ground.
Sky ground, sky ground, sky ground. It looked like the 28 may have gotten a little loose there. Yeah, certainly tapped her there, got loose, and then came right back up and took her for a ride.
If you ever want to tell someone
and a little bit of violent there too.
Yeah, when that truck finally came off the banking, it caught, and then she went for another ride.
And I mean, we'll go ahead and jump in here so you guys can see what she saw. If you get sick, look away, because it's certainly going to make you a little woozy.
She had no idea it was coming.
No, and she's stuck there.
The next thing she knows, like she's being shot out of a space shuttle or something.
Certainly, and that flip, I mean, it just makes me want to.
That's the worst when as a driver you have no idea there's a big shot coming and things are not going to be how you remember them from a racing standpoint, of course.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened to the 84 there.
And the thing is another point is I know a couple people who like to use VR for this, and that right there is a reason why I will never in my life use VR for iRacing. No.
I've tried VR once. I like it, but I felt like you need to drive it differently. It feels different. The way the steering wheel, just your inputs and everything. Maybe that's just me, but I thought it was really cool.
I've never been able to do it because I am one of those guys that wrecks all the time. I'm not a good racer, and that's exactly why I'm up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. And, it's one of those things where I'd rather be up here and not flipping upside down while wearing VR. I can't do it.
Hey, I'm not that good either. I got plate racing. I'm dangerous at that, and I'm happy for that. But everywhere else, I'm horrible. But you know what? I like racing too darn much. I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to keep pushing.
Oh, 100%.
I'll go out there. I'll race some league races, and sometimes it's a very humbling experience. When you just get spanked from the drop of the green flag, and you go home with your tail between your legs. But yeah, you come back again and do it next week just because you love racing and being around the guys that that you work with, or the leagues that you broadcast with. As those plates still on that iRacing.com pace car. Eric Smith, your leader already is locked into the championship for this season. But how about Kruger there in that 40? He's having a great run thus far. Going to restart here, P2. And look who's a knocking there in P3.
Yeah, Dustin.
On that Toyota. And like the marketing slogan says, he's trying to go places. He's taking it to the front. Does Dustin Ball get
and also, last week we saw him, pull off some strategy and have a really good finish last week. So, he's bouncing off of some momentum here, and looks to possibly walk away here with at least a sprint win and possibly a feature win here as well.
Winning is everything, especially if you're in a rut or you're trying to get over that hump. How many times have we seen throughout the course of racing history? That's the spark, the catalyst, the movement that catapults you to, obviously if, you're one of the guys, one of the greats per se, a lot of times it was, just waiting on that first win. And then once the driver, that team was able to get it, they went on and did some great things. We've seen that throughout the course of racing history as those lights now go out on that iRacing.com pace car.
Yeah, and I want to go back to your point of humbling experiences. That's certainly a true thing. I mean, there's such a wide range of skill level throughout iRacing in general. And I remember one time I was racing at Sonoma, and one of the guys that got invited to the league was Blake Reynolds, who, I don't know if you know, used to race in the Coca-Cola series back when it was still peak antifreeze eNASCAR series. And let me tell you, that is a humbling experience. To get lapped multiple times without having any incidents, getting multiple laps down from someone, it's a humbling experience.
Yeah, I got owned by Parker Retzloff at Michigan last week. Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And Aaron Smith pushes that pedal through the floorboards as we climb the H pattern one more time.
Yeah, and certainly, that's the big thing about iRacing too. Is we have the opportunity to race with some of these guys, for fun, and a lot of the guys that are that I've come in contact with on the simulation are just like us, just pure NASCAR racing fans.
You don't get that type of experience in any other form of sports. At least I don't think, like you do here in iRacing, but being able to race with, professional drivers, of the golden era, the modern era. I've raced with a bunch of different drivers because we are, oh my God, we are fast and furious up here at the front. That's the diamond formation. You got I can't even talk right now. These guys got me so worried.
Yeah, certainly we got almost 3 different lanes going. We've got Kruger trying to surge back forward, but Bali all over the back end of Aaron Smith. And when does he step out here? We're coming around. He's gonna lose his chance to step out if he doesn't keep Smith further ahead. But does he jump out here, or does he just, secure his spot in about 9th place for the next for the feature?
I think it was too soon there to jump out, but that's just me. I think the best place for Baldy right now is just locked to the back of Smith Smith right now there. Or if he wants to drop a couple positions, that's one thing. But here we go. We're doing the mad scatter. We got a truck into the catch fence. As we send it, we got another one around up in the front. There goes the 21 again. He ejects his springs into the RV parking lot. As Aaron Smith gets the win. No surprise here in the heat race.
Certainly not a surprise. We're going to now see if he can make it through the field cleanly and pull off the sweep, as we should say, for the the sprint and the feature race.
We've seen him do it multiple times this season, but one thing that's different from a super speedway versus a road course, you're not trying to dodge road mines and bombs exploding, cars, trucks flying at you out of nowhere like you are here at times. And we've already seen that potential is there in the heat race. We had, two really absolutely catastrophic wrecks here. So hopefully, these drivers will take that into consideration once we get into the feature. You can't win it on lap one. You have to survive. You have to survive and be alive. You got to be in it to win it. And the best way to do that is avoid the big one. And sometimes going out there and just logging laps, bleeding some of those laps off the clock will give you a better opportunity to keep all four corners on your race truck and be there when it matters.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you don't really know what the best strategy is. It's going to be one of those things where you just got to kind of feel it out throughout the course of the race and, see what others are thinking and what others are doing. And, as it looks like Tom Wentz going to go out for a little bit of warm-up here, as we do have a little bit of a warm-up session in between gridding. But, it's hard to have a game plan at a place like Daytona.
It really is. I mean, you've seen here in the heat race, we had a big incident kickoff right at the front, and we had incidents kickoff near the back. Now, me personally, I start back in the woods. I don't qualify at plate races. I'll start, shotgun on the field, because I don't want to say it's better odds. It's really 50-50. You never really know. But for me, that's what I'm most comfortable with as a driver. So when I strap in and, we take the green flag, I'm in the most comfortable position, my stress levels, all that you take consideration. That puts me at my best, my best chance for success is when I start in the back. Does it always work out? Absolutely not. Sometimes I get killed on lap one by things that were almost biblical proportions, but that's Daytona. You just never really know until it's over.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, you don't have a winning strategy until you take the checkered flag, if you know what I mean.
I mean, unless you're fortunate enough, and I can count, on one hand over the course of, been watching racing since 1993. Granted, I was a small child then, but it was the 1993 Daytona 500. It was coined the Dale and Dale Show, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Sr. My point is, I can count, the times there was a car on the racetrack that was dominant, that was that good, where it could stay out in front and really couldn't really be challenged by other, drivers, teaming up, drafting, working together, everything that we do out here on the racetrack to just make someone's life miserable out there, where their car was just that was just that good, and they were able to keep it out in front.
Yeah, I think the only real, modern day scenario was when Ford took over, I should say SHR took over the race at, I believe it was Daytona, but I know for a while there, SHR had a very dominant, restrictor plate racing performance. They had one of the better, plans of the four of them just sticking together the entire race, and ultimately just ran that race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. A lot has changed now with, the dawn of the new era, the next gen or current cup gen, if you will. What those teams, those drivers were able to do, with either a super speedway race car, building the chassis, everything from the ground up, the speedway car. You don't have that creative ability anymore, so it's a lot harder now to replicate that. But you're darn right, Stewart Haas did have a great plate race package. DEI did there as well for years. Senior, Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, and I certainly miss, the days of, innovation in NASCAR, where, the biggest one being, T-Rex from Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon. That car unloaded was a terrible car, with a regular NASCAR setup. And then he said, let's You know, let's
Throw the
set it
biggest
up like
sway
a.
bar we have.
What's that?
Let's throw the biggest sway bar we
Right.
have in it.
Said biggest sway bar. Set it up like a late model or a modified. Went out there and just absolutely dominated the race. And you know, he talks about being on the stopwatch and he sees the tenths and he's like, it's the same thing. But then the guy with the other stopwatch was like, no, look at the other, like look at the second, and it knocked a whole second off of the car, or off the lap, and that's just unheard of nowadays. You know, seeing someone go out and knock off a full lap, second off of their lap.
I mean, it was kind of unheard of then too, but you're not going to see that now. But I remember watching that race in 1997, and I was madder than a Keebler elf that got demoted to Fudge Packer because I was a senior fan.
See, I'm a little bit of a later, you know, I'm a 96 baby, so I didn't start watching racing until much later, but I was still a Gordon guy. As we see Rapp bring these guys into that box, he's going to get the green flag. It's waving, and he's headed off into turn one side by side with Chris Winslow.
Johnny Rappin at the point, 52, leading the charge, and here comes Cadwell on the outside, or Chris Winslow, excuse me, in the 45 ride. He's getting a big-time push there from the 32, but we are rack stacked 3 nice and tight here. Now 4 as the rest of that bottom line makes its way back up to the point. The 21 is going to get pushed under the double yellow line. He's going to have to lift and go all the way to the back. Big time implications, race changes here for the driver of the 21, but it's a lot better than being in pieces out there on the racetrack. You still have plenty of time. Don't lose the draft here. You can't recover, as we're already big things shaking up here at the point. As we're early in this one, we haven't even logged the first lap yet.
Yeah, haven't even logged the first lap, and it looks like, I want to say Wiseman, she, excuse me, sorry. Wiseman took a little bit of a quick move into the outside line there. So certainly jockeying for position already, and who was that? Was that Winslow that was on the outside there? Yeah, Winslow out there on the outside. Yep.
Ho.
Yeah.
Winslow going for a ride there. Steve Urkel reference. I don't know if you remember that show.
I do. I remember. See, it's weird being a 96 baby, because you weren't considered a 90s baby, but you were also not considered a 2000s baby. So we were kind of in the middle of the two generations of, you know, that time period, and it's one of those things where, you know, we're millennial and Gen Z at the same time, and I definitely more of that millennial kid than I am the Gen Z, where, you know, a lot of the 80s and 90s were a part of my childhood.
Copy that, 10-4. Talking about a lot of lead changes here at the point. No, hey, another lead change here. You got Mark Rolls-Royce at the point. He's up 5 spots. Oh, my! Do we stay green? I saw a lot of smoke there on the racetrack before we switch the cameras back here to cover actually at the front of the field. It looks like we are going to stay green for right now. But Mark Rolls-Royce out at front, rolling in the 44, up 5 positions from where he started. And there's the smoke, I think, that I saw, and that Toyota looks big time used up.
Yeah, and that's certainly unfortunate there for him, as he's going to be done for the day. But back up, John Rapps found his way back up front.
Primetime Johnny leading here at Daytona. Got a heck of a pusher behind him there in the 12. That's going to be James Moore. Here comes Dustin Bowley. I'm telling you, I got a feeling he's gonna get a win here on the final, on the final race of the season, and you can tell he wants it. He is up there. He is racing hard right now. He is giving the business to the back of that EcoBoost F-150. I mean, he is painting him.
Yeah, he's all over the back of it, and really trying. It's one of those things that you want to go, but you also kind of want to hang out here and, you know, not push the issue too soon. But it's hard, you know, that primitive mindset's just like, nah, we're going.
You know, that's a great point you bring up. You know, you can sit there and say, like, or I even brought it up really in the broadcast, just, you know, just, oh, that could have been, That 44 almost lost it in the corner as he got an ill-timed push from the 52 of Johnny Rapp, a very rare mistake. He did the jig and somehow got that truck to squat. And now look at this. The 52 looks like he got shot out of the hot dog bun. How did he get to the high side? Now he leads it on the outside lane. Balling pushing him.
Yeah, they certainly just did a little switcheroo there and flip-flop spots. It's not something you usually see.
No, but these guys are racing hard right now, and I know I mentioned earlier, hey, run some laps, trim some of the fat off, but when everyone else is racing this hard, to your point, you're gonna go to that level. That's human nature. That's the mindset. That's being a competitor, and you can see that everyone out there, almost everybody out here right now, they are going at it like it is 3 or 4 laps to go.
Oh, Bally got a little bit to the the outside of Johnny Rapp there as we're looking on board from the backwards roof cam and just seeing all of the cars stacked up behind him, and Dustin Bally almost had Rapp in the wall there for a moment.
That's the byproduct of this racing. When you're pushing this hard, running this close together, don't get me wrong, from a broadcast standpoint, there's the caution flag. The 24 just went up and tagged the wall slightly. Yeah, and I want to say that Bass Tracker Chevrolet almost did the same thing, went up and caught a little piece of the wall.
Yeah, it looks like Steve Loving was in a little bit of an issue here. Oh, that thing's destroyed.
He literally has windows in the front of that truck.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened to him. Let's take a look.
What? Yeah, the front clip is gone.
Taking a look back here. Oh, and it looks like he got stuck on the on that apron there.
That's happened to me once or twice.
He went riding.
Oh, so these 3 guys in the back here trying to make time, run down and just got hooked and kaboom.
Yeah, and he ultimately goes for a ride there, but I wonder if what happened here.
It looked like a push gone wrong. These guys are, a few seconds back from the main pack, so they're trying to make time. They're pushing hard, and based the way I saw that truck come out of there, just get shot out of there like out of a cannon. Usually that's indicative of a bad push.
Yeah, but I don't want to say anything incorrect, but it looks like he was trying to spin himself out there. And I could be wrong, but it definitely looked like one of the cases of, he needed that caution.
Well, you know what? That's a point. I mean, these guys are all, very professional and all have some class, but hey, you never really know what someone's motive or team orders, plans, that may be. But I guess without looking at the replay for certain, really can't tell, but from what I saw there, it looked like he took a shot at the wrong time and it just sent him up the racetrack and it kicked off from there.
Yeah, certainly a devastating for him, and it's going to be a big setback, and he might even be done as we'll take a peek at him. Nah, he's got that fast repair, I guess. Fixed up. I don't believe they have a fast repair, but certainly looks like that has a fast repair on it.
Yeah, there was no front on that Chevrolet. It was gone.
Absolutely. I mean, he was out here looking like a modified.
Yeah, it was tubular chassis. That's about it.
It's certainly wonder those welds certainly held up, though. It didn't look like we lost anything under there.
Well, structural integrity, that's where you don't want things to fail, especially when there's lives on the line, safety things like that. But you're absolutely right.
I mean, it's crazy to think, for Ryan Newman, a bar that was invented for, because of him is what ultimately
Newman
saved
bar.
his life.
Right, the Newman bar.
And it's crazy.
You know,
I mean, it literally called the Newman bar.
Yeah, I remember when said driver landed on his face, and the whole, obviously it was a safety implementation to the race car, but it got coined the Newman bar. But I'll tell you what, Newman never really had any type of luck at super speedways. For the little bit that he had, he certainly paid the price because, I mean, he got, absolutely annihilated just about every way possible.
The one that I remember very distinctly was Talladega, back when Brad Keselowski was racing the 09. And Edwards got turned up and, went airborne and got, caught the full front end and pretty much the windshield of that car, of that car.
Yeah, that was in the COT car, tandem draft on coming down to the line, and Edwards, Ricky bobbied it across the start-finish line, didn't he? Got out of the race car, if I remember right.
Yep, certainly did, and then I don't know if my timeline's a little messed up. I don't know if it was the following year. I believe it was the following year when Keselowski was up in the 12 car. Actually, I think he was in the 12 car. And then, Edwards gave him the payback, and I remember Keselowski miking up saying, "I don't know if I'm all right."
Yeah, that's right. That was the following year.
Yeah, because I know he was, at the time, it was just the 2 and 22 were full-time rides, and he was in 12, I believe. It was a red 12 car. Isn't it weird how, I can't remember everyday knowledge that I need to know, but I can tell you that a driver was racing a 12 car that was red and got hooked by Carl Edwards as we rolled towards the restart zone. Brian Wahmer gonna have the control here as they fire off. Gonna take a little while to get these things revved up, but once they do, we're gonna go back racing here.
Well, you always remember what you're passionate about, so that's my philosophy there. Back to the green flag side of things. Bass they're going to try to take a space of action on the high side, the bottom. They got 3 lanes ripping right now. Here they come up the gut. They're using the black hole to their advantage. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, to see those two stay as tight as they can up on that outside line and actually made a little bit of time was kind of crazy to see, but I certainly don't want to be up there for long.
No, I don't want to be in the middle, but that was wild. I mean, typically someone gets sent to the middle or wides up there. That's the dark.
Oh, Bass grabs the. Oh, a lot happened there. The 14 grabbed the apron. Bass grabbed the apron. We stay green, stay straight and narrow, but definitely close to something there.
You should have seen this save Jay Bass pulled off when I was out there in practice with him. That truck was 45 degrees. It had death wobble like you would not believe. And somehow he just picked it right back up as we go on board now with Brian Wahmer.
Yeah, and you can see he's just kind of caged in there. And that's what's crazy about, places like Daytona, Talladega, and now Atlanta. If you're on that bottom and you're not the first car out, you're just caged in. You don't really have anywhere to go, at any time.
Well, I guess you do have the grass at your disposal. Not that that's the best, the best option out there. But I just can't believe, that 3 wide situation there. Bass got put in the middle.
Oh!
Holy! No
way! And then the leader gets hooked.
And James Moore got hooked.
So much happened there. The 67, I don't know how he didn't get hit in that initial there.
He just Bon Jovi living on a prayer day. I mean, the best, just what the heck just happened moment, a miracle. He got set and put it through a hole. and multiple trucks. Oh my God, they're just beating and banging into each other. But if it's
See here,
possible,
Jay
to go
Bass
back,
just to the inside there, almost blows over. Certainly not what you want to see.
no, it's a lot of carnage after these wrecks. The 66 goes helicopter mode, almost lift. I mean, he does lift off the ground, but only an inch or two. But went for a crazy ride. The same for the 53. Is that TRD is pointing the wrong way. He's going to grab a gear here. Jay Bast, not what he was looking for. But
And that's what I wanted to go back for was
an initial replay. This is just incredible.
for Seraph there. Let's back it up real quick.
I know typically I'm pretty electric. I hype stuff up, when I'm calling a race. But this,
I mean, he gets into the 65, kind of lets up. 52 gets into him, and then it just turns hard left. And if there was a truck there, it's done and over with.
that is I don't have the words.
And then he gets back up on the track, and everything was going to be relatively good, except for he would have slid out. But then everything just kind of turns into carnage. But somehow he's still fine, doesn't get hit by anything whatsoever, and carries on.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
And I mean, that's one of those things we all hope and pray for when it happens, is if we get loose and go down to the inside, that there's just no car there.
We could try to do that again 1,000 times, not send it through that hole.
Oh, 100%. Like that. There's never going to be that opportunity to just happen again.
Well, I thought after the biggest Houdini I've ever seen pulled off at Daytona, I thought they saved it at first. That's why I was losing my mind. And then, well, it was a delayed bomb reaction on that one, and then it popped off after that. But I have never in my life seen anything like that. A truck on the high side of the racetrack loses it and just lawn darts it across traffic. It just happens to find the only hole on the bottom side of the racetrack, where at that speed and his angle of trajectory, he basically just makes it through by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, I mean, he should have been done. Like, that should have been game, set, match for him. And
somebody had front row VIP tickets to that. I would die to see the onboard camera from the truck that basically just slipped it through.
Certainly, we can go ahead and take a look at that. It was Brian Wormer. Might have to back it up just a touch. Yeah, there it is. Just a touch.
That is...
Like, and then you see him coming back up, and you're just right there.
That's the only damage he has. That's it. He makes it through the rest of this unscathed, as everyone else is, just pile driving each other. Multiple hits, multiple impacts.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where, as the 14 of Brian Wammer, you are like, okay, he's down there, he's done, he's gone. So you stay in it. You don't expect him to be able to transition back up onto the apron with that much control, because normally when you go from the apron to the racing surface in these corners, it's an instant you're going around. It's not an easy thing.
That was a miracle. A real life simulation miracle right there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, any other case in that car, that thing's wrecked. Any other case.
These guys always find a way to make me have to scrape myself off the floor after they're done racing here in the Road and Plate Series. I thought maybe they'd take it easy on me tonight, or us tonight. Nope. They're giving us everything what they got.
Absolutely. I mean, they're good. That's what I love about this series is they go all out as hard as they can for every little bit.
How about that 84 Valvoline machine up there? P4 up 12 position. She's having a great run. Stoner going to be on the outside front row. James R. Moore going to have the button here, and he's got Johnny Rapp pushing him here at this restart. Green flag back in the air at Daytona once again. Let's get back down to business here in the final event of the season. Stoner going to give the goods to the 12 on the bottom. The 52 Rapp got out of position there for just a moment, then he sticks it back down to the bottom, and that outside lane has a big run coming.
Yeah, and it's to see the 40 jump up to the high side, and that's what we're going to start seeing as we get ever so closer to the end of this race, is seeing people just not really having any kind of give. They're just going to be all take.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of give and take right now, only 17 laps in, but at the end, hey, it's no lift. I mean, you're not lifted until you see God or a checkered flag. And even with all the mayhem that we've had over the course of the heat and this feature race thus far, we are still racing as hard as we possibly can right now. I mean, we are 110%. Big time push there from Rapp. You can see that momentum, that just the mile per hour there on that inside line, just flourish when Rapp was able to give that 12 a big push there. You can see that that lane surge out in front, but that's only going to last momentarily now, as here comes the outside lane being read by Stoner. Pushing him is going to be the 40 of Kruger. Kruger's been up near the front of this piece virtually for most of both races. That 40 truck is very strong. He's kept his nose clean and avoided the carnage and chaos.
Yeah, and that's just the name of the game here at Daytona too, is just trying to find a way to keep your nose clean. It's easier said than done.
Sometimes you got to have luck on your side.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. I mean, one of the greatest racers of all time, Dale Earnhardt, it took him forever to get the Daytona 500, and you got to have a little bit of sprinkle of that luck with the ability. So he had the luck that day, and actually finally was able to capture a Daytona 500.
Yeah, 1998 Daytona 500, 50th anniversary of NASCAR, and that driver in black lost a Daytona 500 more ways than you could think of on the final lap multiple times. It was painful.
Oh, and the 67 again.
Oh, we got Lacka.
Aaron Smith
Oh
upside
God.
down.
Aaron Smith did a lid spin. There's the 67. He is used up and use and abuse. He got some big time damage on that race truck.
Yeah, and so much happened. The prompt to go back and look at it disappeared right out of thin air. Oh, Aaron Smith.
He got smoked by Seraph.
Smoked is not even the word for it.
Lit up.
I mean, that was like JBL's clothesline from where. Little wrestling input there.
I mean, that looks like in the NFL, like a hit on a defenseless receiver.
Yeah.
When Antonio Brown got smacked by Perfect.
Oh, dude. I mean, he is in yellow, so I mean, it's fitting.
I mean, it just
like
is robotic and darn near perfect.
Just trying to find everyone that's involved in this thing, because it's one of those everyone's in it.
As good as Smith is, even he can't hide here at Daytona. He
No,
thought
not
he
at
had
all.
this wreck cleared, and then he's breakdancing, going down the the apron of the racetrack before he hits the grass.
Here's one for you.
Watch this.
Oh. I mean, that's like the spin cycle in the dryer or in the washer.
Yeah. That's probably just as you key up on the radio telling your team, guys, I made it. And then before you get, calm breaks, then you hear the crowd reacted. You're on your roof doing things you shouldn't be doing in a race truck.
Hey, that's gold medal in the Olympics, in my opinion. A little breakdance action.
Yeah, that was a solid 9.5.
Wonderful dismount as
I've
well.
ever seen. The I don't want to score the crashes, but the best crash I have ever seen. I have a saying: no one thrills like Darren Mills, because really no one spills like Darren Mills. Moonshiners Cup Racing League. This man mowed down the turn 2 fence in such an epic proportion. His car didn't touch. His car was suspended in the air for so long. All the pieces that blew off his car, so the front bumper, the back bumper, everything else, was on the racetrack for countable seconds before his car returned back to the surface. And
That's
when
insane.
he went into the safer barrier, I mean, he did a full-blown keg stand. I mean, he hit, front clip first, and the car just stood straight up in the air and then disappeared.
Insanity.
That's the craziest one I've ever seen, but
Yeah, and certainly the good thing about iRacing is we could just get out of the simulation and walk away fine. But
we're lucky this is a simulator tonight.
oh, 100%, especially for Aaron Smith there, because I don't know how that would have felt. I mean, he wasn't he wouldn't have been braced for that in any shape or form.
No. Don't even get me going on the on the iRacing miracle. I mean, I'll tell you what though, Brian Wormer probably needs some laundry detergent, folks at home, if you want to send him some care packages, because I'm just saying that man probably lost every ounce of fluid in his body.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't expected by any means.
I would have.
Oh, 100%. It would have been one of those.
You know what? We should submit that to the iRacing top 10.
That's definitely something. That's definitely worthy of it.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, no, I mean, not even in real life. I mean, the closest would be. It was Kyle Busch, I believe, here at Daytona, when he was sideways. I don't remember what it was from, but sliding and sliding and sliding, and then ultimately saved it somehow. But even that wasn't splitting cars, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, everything had to be perfect. The velocity of the truck, the angle of the, I'm going to probably watch that for 3 hours after this broadcast is over, trying to figure that one out. Or just
It's definitely going to be a head scratcher for a while.
Well, I'll tell you what, talking about a head scratcher, that pace car has been out on this racetrack a lot here tonight in our season finale. Typically, that will calm down the driving or the racing, the antics on the racetrack. These guys have said, we ain't backing down. We're going to send it, green flag, back in the air. And these drivers are putting on a show here in Daytona. Their series finale is Stoner. Gets a big jump there on the restart, almost too big.
Yeah, certainly, and it looks like everyone kind of checked up a little bit.
Yeah, real good job there working there with the 12, picking Stoner up at the right time. I thought that outside lane there was going to have some mojo to work with. And in fact, that Silverado on the outside. Here they come down to the bottom, Rapping Company. They have the momentum on the restart. The 40, Kruger to the front. Johnny Rapp now in second. That's going to move Daniel Stoner back to third.
Oh, as you see them switching lanes, and oh, Hoopshack's almost going to get the inside corner of the 12 there of James Moore. As you see 8 laps to go here, and no one's going to give an inch, even a centimeter at this point. Everything is, you know, is off. It's just hold your position and be there at the end.
Give and take, you know, teammates, you know, all that stuff is out the window. Right now, as a driver, you're seeing red. The internal switch is set to kill. And you are fighting and clawing for every single single position you can get out there on the racetrack until that checkered flag flies.
Yeah, and oh, there we go again.
We got more trucks going skybound again.
Wormer involved.
He used up all his luck on that last one.
Yeah.
Back to the SRM instant replay here. 3 wides, usually a telltale sign. Oh my, they had a meeting of the minds.
Yeah, and it looks like it was with Dustin Bawley there.
Well, you know what they say, it's okay to 3-way at Daytona.
Yeah, it looks like Bawley's in the middle. 14 kind of comes up a bit, and oh.
He monster trucks the hood of the 28. Bast goes beast mode. Bawley gets his face ripped off. I mean, this is another odd one. You have 2 trucks literally on a collision, head-on collision course here. This is nuts.
Oh, look. Oh. And you know who else is going to need some laundry detergent this time around?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Aaron Smith.
On board now with the 70, being piloted by Aaron Smith. It's going to pop off just in front of him here.
Woo! And how he got through that, and then through the grass. Trying to steer that thing through the grass is not fun in any means.
That's when you sit there and you're like, oh my, it takes a minute because you think you're dead. And then you realize, wait, I'm still driving. My truck's running. I'm steering straight. And then you have this realization. I've had that happen a couple times, but at least, hey, Daytona gave him one back because remember earlier in the race, I mean, he took a wild, wicked shot and it sent him X Games mode across the infield of the racetrack there. This time, he comes out the other side in brilliant fashion.
Yeah, and I mean, now he finds himself up just a little bit to 13th. You know, kind of still in a spot to win. Samuel Stoner up 14, Evan Hoopshack up 13. Those are our biggest 2 movers of the day so far.
Samuel Stoner, the silent assassin.
And it's always good to be that silent assassin, that quiet guy that nobody notices.
I wish I was better at pulling that off. I don't want, obviously if the competition's not thinking about you, that's a good thing, right? Especially if you're
100%.
Especially if you're a good driver, and Stoner always just, almost like Kevin Harvick. Where did he come from? He makes moves at the right time. He doesn't force them. Now there's times you have to, but he does his thing, and he stays off the radar as well. And I like having that stealth advantage, and Stoner's definitely has that going for him.
Yeah, the closest to that stealth advantage I've ever had was qualifying on the pole at Pocono one time in a league that I was not, should have never been anywhere near the pole. and I qualified on the pole and got all the way back to the pace, about to be done the pace lap to go green, and someone mics up, hold up, Jordan's on the pole, and I just came by over the mic and I was like, one of these things is not like the other, and needless to say, I did not finish where I started.
You still got a pole, buddy.
Exactly, and I mean, I could ride that for the next week. Pause.
So here we go. Let's set this back up. Late race caution for yet another multiple truck incident here at Daytona. The wrecks have been everything that you want them to be, folks. If you're tuning in late, you're going to want to go back and watch the rest of this broadcast. I mean, we have some things that we don't have words to describe happening because, frankly, it's never happened in motorsports racing before, or at least that I know of.
Yeah, and it's certainly been a night where you just kind of, up here in the booth, we're just like, and we're lost for words.
Yeah, I mean, and then just this past caution, we had two trucks simultaneously kamikaze each other, which you hardly ever see.
Yeah, and
At
I
least
think
in that,
the hardest hit was Dustin Bally. I mean, that thing was like, that looked almost like Kyle Busch's Xfinity crash here. It just was at the beginning of pit road instead of the end, down towards the that exit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I forgot about that, but you ain't wrong.
And I mean, if that was a real car, that I don't know if that person's getting out unscathed, because that's a full speed head-on collision right there.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But up until that point, that's what painted this with pace car's going to make that move down pit road. Kruger and Rapp on the front row. Green flag back in the air. Let's get back to the live action in Daytona. Clean restart thus far. It's a John Force special from the 52 of Rapp and the 40 of Kruger. Stoner pushing on the bottom. And then you got the 12 of Moore conducting business for the top side. That second pack. Go ahead.
It's one of those things where now, like, the give and take is done. It's done. I mean, before everyone was going to be taking and taking and taking, but now they're not lifting until they see the checkered flag, and they don't care if they're sideways, upside down, backwards. They're not lifting.
No, you burp the throttle here. I mean, that's going to cost you a ton of positions. If not, wide you up and put you in the fence yourself more oftentimes than not.
Yeah, because the guy behind you is just pushing. He's not. He's going to shove you as hard as he can.
Speaking of holding on with some, hard pushing. The 12 of Moore is giving everything.
Oh, and the leader's turn. Scrap everyone. There has been no shortage here.
Personal record here for me. This race here at Daytona.
I mean, Hubschak, Wiseman, Rapp in it, Kruger in it. I think the 14 might have avoided it. Tom went. Been in just the wrong place at the wrong time all night long. Ott looks like he's good through
Tom
it.
Went to the wrong place at the right time?
What's that?
You say Tom went to the right place at the wrong time?
I said in the wrong place at the right time wrong place at the wrong time all night long.
I thought you were playing off his last name there. I was like, there you go.
It would have been good. I should have just left it. So Hubschak actually got away pretty good there. And this is one of those crashes where I'm scrolling for miles just to find that yellow flag. See what ultimately went on. Just see here. Oh, the 65 of Stoner just pushing with all his might. And ultimately, that's what caused it there. As you can see from the roof here, just pushing, and then you see Kruger goes to the line, and then once he has that wiggle and slows up, Samuel Stoner gets into the outside right rear corner, and that's all she wrote there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stoner lit the wick on a nuclear warhead here at the front of the field. As this will now invoke overtime. We're going all the way, ladies and gentlemen. As we take a look at this, again.
Rap gets away pretty unscathed there. Then grabs just a touch of the wall and then a little bit of the nose there, but the 40, massive hit.
Yeah, he's going to be picking grass.
I want to see what happens to Went here, because he was fairly off of the pack there. Oh, and he committed to the bottom there and to run away, and just nowhere for him to go after everyone just kind of piles up there.
The other thing is, because these drivers are that good, they're running so fast and so close to each other. When something does kick off because they're grouped in, so closely together, the explosion is just epic. And that's why you see these trucks just, almost, I don't want to say artificial-like, but they just carry on forever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't realize the speed that Went was carrying there.
Oh yeah, Spent was like lit. Afterburner.
I want to go back and look at that from on board. I mean, I did not know that that's the speed he was carrying through there. He's off the gas though still too, and then he sees everything and he's just along for the ride.
Right. He didn't plan to have, 7, 8 trucks come down off the racetrack into the grass and blocking his escape route.
No, certainly not. But I do want to point out here, Aaron Smith finding his way up into the 3rd place spot.
It's almost like Tom Brady. Just when you think you have him defeated, you left 1 second on the board, or in this case, overtime.
Yeah, and it's going to be... I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done by any means.
Well, they have 1 of 1. So they have 1 per league rules. They have 1 shot at a green-white checker. So if we decide to blow things up again, well, that's it. Where the field gets froze, and that's official at the line.
Yeah, and certainly that's not how these guys want to see that end. But, I mean, with how we've been racing tonight, it's certainly going to be hard to avoid that. Because, I mean, these guys want it all.
I want it all, and, I mean, I'm up here in the broadcast booth, and I probably want it just as bad as these guys do, because this race is... You couldn't even... If you said before the broadcast, or thought that half the things we see tonight were going to happen, there's no way. I mean,
no, absolutely not.
I'm saving this replay. As soon as this race is over, I'm saving this replay, and then I'm going back to the broadcast, and I'm saving that replay. I mean, that's how wild and like something out of a movie. However, this is totally unscripted. This is, this is raw.
This is like as real as it gets.
Exactly. However, you watch some of these wrecks or incidences that happen, you would think otherwise. But it's not. I've never seen anything like it. Iracing pace car is going to bail into the Geico restart zone. Let's go overtime racing here at Daytona to close the season out. Chris Winslow is trying to get out of Dodge, but he's got Aaron Smith in the 70 knocking on the back door of that Chevrolet.
Yeah, certainly pushing with all his might there, trying to get, possibly ahead of the 21 of Cameron Caldwell and maybe forcing him to get in line behind them. But he's getting a massive shove by Steve Loving of the 27.
Oh, trust me, there's nothing loving about that shove. It's false pretense. It's just to help him get to the, out of the tri-oval and at the line, every man for himself. But here we go.
We stay green, gonna grab that white flag.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to jinx it, but we are racing back to the checkered flag. 1 lap to go from Daytona. Steve Loving. Yo, look who's coming. Here comes Dustin Bawley. He almost got wrecked. How did he save that race truck? He brought it back up onto the apron. They're wrecking behind him. Everyone's about washed up and tore up. It's going to be a side-by-side COT-style tandem draft battle showdown for the final lap here at Daytona. Pick your poison. You got Bawley and the 21 working the bottom. You got Loving and Johnny Rapp on top. Does the HMFIC make it to Graceland here, coming off of 4 for the final time? The outside lane's going to run. Bowling's going to bail to the bottom. He gets a nudge at the line. It's going to be Steve Loving gets the win. Johnny Rapp comes in second. The 3 of Cameron Caldwell third, and Dustin Bawley, I thought he was going to get the win, comes in fourth. In all those vehicles, those drivers, separated by thousandths of a second. That's how you do it at Daytona.
Certainly, and I mean, that was a phenomenal finish there, and I'm just trying to figure out where all of that happened.
There was so many saves that happened in that overtime. Bawley had a heck of a save. I'm pretty sure he got sent down to the apron.
Yes,
And somehow was able to jump it back up in that, into the draft there, and he took a shot and still held on to it.
Yeah, just scrolling through here, trying to find any kind of indication of the wreck here as we go here. Here we go. Just absolute mayhem throughout the entire field. It's everywhere. Everywhere. I think every truck except for, I think, Laura Wiseman.
I mean, Samuel Stoner there took it from both ends hard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Laura Wiseman, and it looks like the 66 machine of...
Yeah, that's Ken Estep.
Ken Estep are the only ones that got through that without any kind of damage.
Yeah, I mean, these wrecks have been so violent
Look at this.
tonight.
Look. It's just like the Red Sea parting for him. I can't even just get off of this. Like, it's just one of those things that I gotta see more. I want to go on his onboard.
There we go. Look, that is just, that's out of this world. I mean,
I mean, it's unheard of. But certainly, Steve Loving getting the win here tonight in grand fashion. We're going to go ahead and bring up... Trying to see, it says Caldwell was our third, but I do not see Caldwell. Let's just go ahead and interview Bawley.
fourth place finisher.
Dustin Bawley, it's Jordan and Matt up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, how we doing? Yeah, we're doing good.
So, you come home fourth, but we do not see a Mr. Caldwell, so we're going to have a little chat with you here. And, that was an insane finish. I mean, it was all behind you, but certainly when you go back and look at that, I mean, it was insane. And it was all about survival tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a tough race. I'm showing myself second, so maybe you guys have a different
Yeah,
different
maybe
timing.
maybe we have a little timing area. It definitely
Yeah,
went a little
yeah.
crazy. It
Yeah, I was
definitely was
showing.
crazy there at the end.
Yeah, no, it was a fun race. I mean, it seemed, unfortunately, there was a lot of cautions. There were a lot of guys just kind of wiggling, kind of the whole race, and you know, me personally, it was back to front to back to front, and just got lucky with the restarts there with 2 to go, or with the second to last restart. Me and Steve were actually at the back. I think we were like 20th and 21st, and then you know at the green white checker, we started fourth and eighth, so we were able to just put ourselves in the right position at the end and come away with a good finish.
Yeah, and it certainly was a phenomenal race, and you were up front a good bit of it. And I did look back at the iRacing, and it does say second for you there. I think our timing just went a little haywire because of everything that was happening there at the end. So certainly want to congratulate you on the second place. Instead of saying you're fourth, I want to give you
Oh yeah,
that,
no,
that
it's all
extra
good.
2 spots there.
I was one, not to cut you off. I was one position off. Justin, I had you as the winner. I felt that you were gonna finally break through and win in the final event, and I thought you had it.
Yeah, yeah. Steve just got a better run on that. I mean, Johnny and him are both really good, and obviously Caldwell's really good. You saw what he did at Motorsport Arena a couple weeks ago, so we know he's quick. And yeah, it's just I mean, it's about the play races. It's you first got to survive, and then you know once you survive, then it's just getting to a good finish. So I thought my run was pretty good. You know, like I'm looking at the replay here, and coming out of 4 looked pretty good, but then Steve just got the right shove from Johnny at the right time, and that was enough to propel them to the win. So I love racing those guys. You know, a second, you know, sharing the podium with those 2 guys, and then Cameron as well, it feels like a victory. So I'm super happy with it. This couldn't have gone much better.
Yeah, and,
No,
and certainly, oh, sorry, certainly a finish like this has definitely got to ramp you up for next season to come. So, how does that help you set your sights on going into next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to see how the points shake out, but I think it's going to be more of the same. I think Aaron's obviously going to be really hard to beat. He kind of crushed everyone this season, so we'll kind of see how he does. But I'm real excited about the guys who just joined in the last couple of weeks. James Moore, Cameron Caldwell, Michael Kruger. Those 3 guys are all really, really fast, and I think they're going to give kind of the established front runners. You know, I think of like the Evan Hoopchaks, Dan Otts, Jay Bass, the guys who are always up front on the road courses. But I think it's going to be even tighter. So I think Aaron will kind of have his space out front, and then the fight for podiums in top 5s next season is going to be crazy. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's certainly going to be a great season as well as this one has been. Before I send you off, is there anyone you want to thank and shout out to?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to thank Palm Rat Golf sponsoring the league. Evan, everything he's done for us for the last season and is going to do going forward, we really appreciate it. Personally, I want to thank my wife Rebecca, parents Tom and Deb, mother-in-law Karen, anyone else watching, supporting me, appreciate it. And we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
Well, thank you for stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, and thank you, and again, thank you guys for broadcasting the season. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope our paths cross again soon.
Absolutely, Dustin. It's been a pleasure, and open door. If you ever want to come back, and I've been doing this long enough, you never know what the future holds. We'll be here with open arms, ready to fire up the prime time with you guys once again. Appreciate everything, and best of success with the league in all your endeavors moving forward, sir.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move into what is our 3rd place finisher, John Rapp. It's Jordan and Matt up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's happening? Yeah.
Oh,
you got me?
accidentally, I hit the mute on my button box. Little misclick there. What's it?
I thought you lost Johnny.
Nah, a little misclick there, putting down my mouse. But certainly, you started on the pole, and you got into that wreck where you kind of got T-boned, and kind of set you back. But you find yourself up here in third. My apologies. Our timing is all jacked up because of what happened on that last lap. But once you see that entirety of that field kind of disappear, from behind you? Is it just, you're like, whatever, it's checkers or wreckers from here on out. The worst I can do is say fourth.
Yeah, well, so when that happened, right, my goal was to push Dustin at that point, and man, he got hooked up with whoever it was and went down low. It might have been Steve. No, it wasn't Steve. I don't know who it was, but yeah, as soon as they went low, I'm like, all right, well, I'm with Steve, and I just, got up to him, and I was committed, I mean, there's nothing, if you're on the high line, if I pull out a line, then we're all screwed, right? But yeah, I wasn't even looking in the mirror, and it wasn't until a little bit after that wreck happened that I looked back, and I'm like, oh, it's just us, And at that point, man, it's just pedal to metal, and let's see what happens, right? And man, it seems like it was a pretty good finish, even though there was, some wrecks and stuff. Pretty good race to the line. Hopefully it was a good show for everybody at home and you guys, right? But
Yeah, we loved the debut of Modern Warfare iRacing Edition at Daytona. It was absolutely epic. You guys put on a heck of a show.
yeah, you should have played. If you were watching me, you should have played the. What is it? We'll get them next time. That clip.
But
Yeah,
I just want to tip my hat to you, Johnny. You had a heck of a race, man. You kept that truck clean. I mean, I know some of it's luck. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, we were dropping nukes tonight from the heat race every time. I mean, it went bad. I mean, there's going to be a couple wrecks you look back and watch, and you're going to probably be just as speechless as I was when you see what happened on the racetrack. I don't want to ruin it for you. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But to be able to come out the other side and be in position there, working with Dustin Bawley, I mean, doing everything you can, to come across the line P1. I know he came a little bit short, but, with a race like that, I consider that a win. That was a heck of a drive from you. What does this do for you now, moving into next season? Can you take some of the momentum, the confidence booster? Not that you need it, but it always feels good when you finish up front inside the top three. Can you use that boost to kick off season 2?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think the Xfinity car is better on road courses, right? So
For sure.
that part I might do a little better than I am now. I'm not the best road racer, but I'm okay. Maybe I'll be up in the top 5 a little more often. But yeah, we're definitely gonna ride the momentum. And yeah, I mean, tonight there was man, I don't like being up front in the beginning, and I was, and I'm like, I don't want to be up here. But there's definitely some guys that had some 25 kill streaks, and
Yeah, I'm thirsty, no engaged. You see where I'm going with that.
yeah, but all in all, man, it's still, whether they're wrecking or win, it's really good group of guys. It's kind of a more casual league, man, where everybody's just chill. Everybody will join in the chat and just kind of BS and have fun and all that stuff. So we appreciate everybody. Dustin for putting it on, and you guys for doing the broadcast, and the whole deal. Palm Rat for sponsoring, and yeah, it's a good time, man. I'll definitely be back next season.
Well, heck yeah, man. It's been a pleasure watching your race this season. You've been fun. And way to round out the final race of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the driver of the 52. Johnny Rapp comes home with a 3rd place finish here from Daytona.
And last but not least, we're going to bring up our winner, Steve Loving, and I believe, Matt Metler, you've got him.
Steve Loving, Matt, and my buddy, my broadcast partner up here in the Tony Perpasso Memorial booth. You got a copy there, sir.
Howdy, gentlemen.
Howdy. That's. I figured you'd be a little more animated based upon that racing that we saw out there on the racetrack. I'm still. I had to scrape myself off the floor a couple times. Steve, I mean, obviously with racing going on like that, some of it's luck, a lot of it's skill, a lot of it's, you know, being in the right place at the right time. But I mean, you started deep in the field. You came up, you gained 14 positions here to win this thing. Talk to me about this going into overtime. Did did you think you had yourself in the right position? You know, with the way this race was shaking out, with you know who you had positioned around you, that you were going to be able to punch your ticket here and get a big time win before the season ended.
Um, it's a loaded question. I mean, I run a lot of super speedways, and I've won several championships in super speedway. Um, Coming up to the second restart, I thought I was in a pretty bad spot. I was pretty much in conservation mode, just trying to protect the truck because I didn't have any get out of jail free cards. Um, when that second to last wreck happened, and I was able to navigate through it, and the seas parted, that moved me up to fifth. At that point, I knew I had a real shot, and I was going to go for it. The high line is definitely the lane to prevail. So when I cleared everyone, I wasn't eager to go down. I was trying to hold that high line as long as I could. So it worked out. Surprising. The heat race didn't go so much as planned. I was trying to pick that one up as well, but that one didn't go so hot. But yeah, the feature was exciting. That we had some really good racing at times, and I'm really glad we were able to finish under a checker, considering it was the next yellow would have ended it.
Yeah, it certainly would have. And you know, you mentioned when the Red Seas parted there, and you were able to make it through. You know, typically, it's a plate race like this. You know, so much on the line. When you have multiple wrecks that are taking out match casualties, sometimes that changes. You know, the mindset, the mentality. Of the drivers out there on the racetrack, where maybe you shift. From your initial plan to an alternate because of what's happening out there in the racetrack. Did you do that at any point in time, or do you just stick with your game plan, be patient, and just sent it when it needed to be sent, and came out of here with a dub?
No, I stayed with the patience route. I mean,
Okay.
the field was pretty squirrely on the middle and high lines. Normally, 8 to 10 to go, I would have probably created a third lane and taken the wall, and with a couple people behind me, and pushed my way to the front. But with the way it was playing out, and the way some of the drivers were weaving around, it was just too much risk. And if you went up that high and got any damage, you're done. So I decided just kind of hang back and stay within the sniff of the draft, and keep no one behind me, so I didn't have to worry about getting hit if I braked real hard and let the wreck unfold. But my plan was to wait really to like the last 3 laps and then just give it a real hard push and find a gap.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was great execution on your part, because when it was time to go, your truck came to life and it came charging to the front. It was an exhilarating, very high octane racing action there at the line in overtime as you capture the win here at Daytona. Before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on that 27?
Well, first I want to thank Palm Rat for the league sponsorship, and Evan for all the support. Road and Plate, I've known Dustin for several years. He runs a great league. Him and I were working together at the end, and he promised he wasn't going to dump me like he did Atlanta. So he held his promise and didn't dump me like he did Atlanta. So that was awesome. I'm glad we could get it 1-2. Aside from that, I'd like to thank American Standard, Kohler, Fluid Master, Corky, Delta, Gerber, anyone related to going to the bathroom, because that's where I'm headed next.
And I got to thank you. It's been an honor to watch you race out there. I know you're pretty well known in the super speedway side of things, and I've learned a couple things watching you. Wanted to thank you for being a part of the series, and congratulate you one more time before we cut you loose. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the driver of the 27, Steve Loving, your winner from the Big House in Daytona. Sending it back up top to you.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
You too, sir.
Yeah, and certainly this race was not short of any kind of excitement and exhilaration, and I think those words don't even match up to what we saw here. And it just shows how different each race can be with plate racing. You get some that are green flag from start to finish, and then you have those ones where just calamity happens several times for some of these guys. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go through the final grid here. Might be a little messed up on our end. Doesn't seem to want to come through. So we'll have to do this.
We have finishes. when you're in the thousands of a second category like that, sometimes it can skew the results with our timing and scoring software. But ultimately, you know, it's Iracing, which is the official determination. So that was what happened there. We apologize for that, but we were able easily to get that sorted.
Yeah, so everything else from below seems to be fine. It was just that front four that it had a little issue with. So Steve Loving going to be your winner. And then Dustin Bally going to round out the number 2 spot, followed by John Rapp. That's your top 3. From then on, Cameron Caldwell comes 4th, Chris Winslow 5th, Dan Ott, Laura Wiseman 6th and 7th, Ken Estep and Michael Kruger 8th and 9th, Jay Bass and Brian Wammer come 10th and 11th, which Wammer had a heck of a night and finds himself up in the 11th, which is not a bad finish. Aaron Smith, James Moore come 12th and 13th. Evan Hubshack and Samuel Stone are 14th and 15th. Sean Johnson, Ryan Campbell 16th and 17th. Tom Went 18th. Devin Jack 19th. Nick Seraph 20th. Mark Royce 21st. And rounding out the field for the night, Phil Keck in 22nd.
Awesome to see 22 drivers here this evening at Daytona for the final dance. And boy, was it everything we thought it was going to be, and then some. A replay that I am going to save now and a broadcast soon after, and I will try to understand what happened and how it happened for the months and weeks to come, as this race was everything. It was, I don't have the words to describe how this race was, but it was absolutely thrilling from start to finish, and then some. Want to thank, Dustin Bally for his time, the league, his time here at SRM. We certainly appreciate them, everything that he has done, and we wish him all the best endeavors and with his league in the future. And obviously, the door is open anytime should he want to come back. SRM will be here with open arms. Also want to take a moment to thank all the partners, sponsors, Pomrat Golf, all the drivers, men and women behind the scenes that make this league possible. Without you guys, it could not be achieved or, ran on a weekly basis. And we thank you for your time, dedication, and support to Road and Plate. And I'm going to send it back over to you, buddy, let you close this thing out. Didn't want to steal all your thunder there, but at least wanted to thank these guys one more time for a heck of a season here, and wish them well before we signed off for the last time.
Yeah, certainly I couldn't have said it any better myself. And with all of that being said, from the late, great Tony Trapasso, as you walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, y'all.